everyone. Welcome to another session with Learning Jar. Let me share my screen and tell you what Learning Jar is. So Learning Jar is an online platform where we provide solutions to all the teachers and students of all grades and subjects. Our website is www.learningjar.in. So you can visit the website and know more about us. My name is Ritika Tyagi. I'm a teacher trainer, founder of Learning Jar. And today's special guest is Mr. Shurjoshma Lahiri, who is an economics and math teacher and a great friend. Trust me, you're going to learn a lot of things from him today. Hello, Shurjo sir.
Hi, everyone. My name's Shurjo, and first, thanks for taking time out to coming to attend this session of ours. We really appreciate you taking time off and being with us here. And also a great thank you to Learning Jar for giving us a platform so that we can share some of our ideas and little stuff for you. So yeah, welcome again. So today we're going to be looking at something that's more of a writing tool for us. And being teachers, academics, we often need to articulate our ideas in terms of writing them and expressing them, not just verbally, right? And in doing so, sometimes it's important to make sure that what we're writing, the content is important, yes, but the way we represent is also, at par and is professional and, draws the attention of the reader. And in this case, there's a word that we use sometimes in writing. It's known as typesetting. That's something that encapsulates what we mean by the different parts of writing, not just the textual, the symbolic, the glyphical part as well. So it's everything combined together that gives it what it looks like. And if there is bad typesetting, then that's a problem because it just distracts the reader, or it just makes the reader not interested in someone's writing, and that's not what we want. So that's what we're here for today. Okay. And in doing so, most of us, I'm sure, we've used Microsoft Word or some other writing tool to write in our day-to-day lives, be it as a teacher in making maybe a question paper, or in writing a journal article, or maybe even presenting at a conference or something like that. And we sometimes use PowerPoint, which is another alternative to Microsoft Word. But I've noted that in Word, there's two things that you have to worry about: the content, yes, but also how it looks like. I mean, how many times we've seen CVs that look almost identical to each other? How many times we've looked at documents that look almost the same, but the content is completely different, right? And
So
in that,
true, yeah.
yes, and it's a problem because nowadays what companies do, because to screen the CVs, I mean, imagine two candidates having similar credentials, they just screen the CVs on appearance. These extra things, they carry as much weightage as the thing itself. And sometimes it's a great tool, but sometimes Word doesn't cut it. It's been used a lot, and we've explored all the millions of possibilities. And on top of that, sometimes when you change something in Word, the entire formatting changes. And you got to go back to page 1 to figure out what do I need to do so that page 56 looks
And becomes
fine.
really very tedious also as a teacher, like checking all the documents and preparing my lesson plan. And if one thing goes wrong, then I have to go back again and do all the changes. So
Exactly.
yeah, I'm looking forward to the session, and I'm really excited to learn more tools because we teachers, we are hungry for new tools and softwares to make our classes interesting. So
Definitely,
uh,
definitely.
it's all yours, sir. You can share your screen and start with the session. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's where we're kind of at today, is that we're going to learn something that is different. At the same time, it's quite similar to Microsoft Word. But the main advantage here is that we don't have to worry about how it looks. We just have to worry about what we plug in. So that is the idea for LaTeX today. Okay. So without further ado, let me directly pull up our content here for you today. So just give me 1 second while I do that. All right. I hope you can see my screen now, everyone. So here we are. So we're going to talk about LaTeX or LaTeX, however you want to call it. That's the name of a typesetting software, as we were talking about typesetting, remember? The way you bring your textual, your graphical, your symbolic, and everything else together. Right? So in LaTeX, basically, it's a software that we can use for writing purposes and for writing in a way that is pleasing to the eye, right? Not just writing. But the advantage here over MS Word is that you don't have to worry about how it looks. LaTeX takes care of that automatically for you. You just figure out what you want to plug in. And there are so many ways with which you can use LaTeX and incorporate it to your work. Is that you can use it to write random, simple documents, starting from your stuff at school or maybe at college or at university, to journal articles, to books, to presenting stuff at even conferences, right? So that's the idea for LaTeX. And there are ways with which LaTeX does stuff is that it not just incorporates your math equations, but it also helps you to figure out the different sections automatically, which you would have to manually do so in Word sometimes. You have to go, especially if it's a long document, right? Maybe it's a 70-page article, or maybe a 70-page book chapter that you're writing, or you're writing about something that you're going to be talking about in your class. You're creating your lesson plan for the entire school year. It's a long document sometimes, and structuring it, referencing it, plugging in your tables, figures, it takes a lot of coordination with all the pages in Microsoft Word. Right? And LaTeX exactly does that for you. It does it automatically for you. So you don't have to worry about how you can incorporate that. Right? And also, you can do everything you used to do in MS Word, like figuring out how you want to incorporate pictures in your writing or your work. You can plug in different multilingual language in your writing. Not just that, you can plug in all kinds of graphics. Basically, in a nutshell, it is MS Word, but a cleaner, a more professional-looking way of writing it out. Okay. So without further ado, what we are going to do is we are going to jump to a software for LaTeX that we're going to use today to demonstrate how we work at it. It's a free software, and it's a very easy way of starting out with LaTeX. So if I could invite everyone to go into this website, Overleafcom. So just type in on your browser, Overleaf.com. We're going to go with this together. And as we take our journey today, you and I can work at it together and try and learn some basic tools for LaTeX. So if you are on Overleaf.com, it'll ask you to sign in or sign up. So if you have your Google account or anything, you can easily do that in a few minutes. It's quite free, so it's a very simple way to get started. And once you're able to do that, I'm going to give you a minute to do that. Once you're able to do that, we are going to begin shortly. So I'll just wait for a few seconds for everyone.
Meanwhile, sir, we have a question from Gitanjali Goel that is this an open source software?
It is an open source software. Yes, the answer is yes. And the advantage let's stop sharing for a second. The advantage here is with LaTeX is that, or especially with Overleaf, is that you can find out different codes and different resources online. There's the community for Overleaf also is ever growing, and there's a lot of people coming up with a lot of different techniques and tools. It's ever growing as we speak as well. And yes, it is open source. So yeah. All right. Let's continue with our screen sharing. Here we go. So, okay. So once we are able to log into Overleaf, that's the interface. You see I have a lot of projects here. I use it quite extensively. But if you see on the left side of your screen, you should see a new project here. Let's click on that and select blank project. So that's the way that's the easiest way to start with LaTeX. So once we do that, it asks us for a name. So let's just click on LaTeX beginner course, and we create a file. It's going to load up. Maybe it'll take a couple seconds, and you should have this platform on your screen. So I'm going to wait again for a couple seconds here so that everyone is able to come onto this side of the screen here on this interface. And once we're able to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to first understand how this interface looks like before we start working on it and learning it. So if you see, there are basically three sections of the screen here. If you can see my cursor, this white section, then there's this gray section and this gray section below the second one. But we're going to close that by clicking the button here. So let's just close that up. And now you have two clean sections. This is where your source is, and this is where your output is. So the left is the source, the right is the output. Now let's try and understand the source. So we'll try and expand this a little bit. Now the source contains of lines that are numbered. So I have 1 through 14, right? And if you look at the top section here, you see that there's some text here that says document class /use package /title /author /date, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, first we're going to try and understand the different parts of this source code that we see here. The first here is that this section creates the environment for our LaTeX file. So what it does, it defines what this file is. And there are different kinds of LaTeX input files. For example, we can write an article, or we can present it, like as a presentation, as a like how you would in a PowerPoint slide. So that will determine what kind of document it is. And so we kind of define the preset conditions here. So that determines how it's going to be like. And it's pretty standard. We don't have to learn all this stuff, but and this is the good thing with Overleaf, it automatically does that for you, because LaTeX sometimes, especially the software packages, are like that. It's a blank canvas, right? So thankfully, Overleaf is there to make our lives easier. Right? So the next thing that we see here is the title. So see, /title, and which is what you named your file as, probably LaTeX beginner course. So that's exactly what we have on the right-hand side. Right? And then you got author, just like, again, the preliminaries to how the file would look like. And finally, date. Right? These are, again, standard, but if you don't want them, we're going to see how we can get rid of them. But let's just try and understand how it looks like first. Okay. Then you have something known as begin document. And finally, let's get rid of this for the minute. And then you have something called end document. Right? So that's how it's looked like. So those three things have come up on our display page. And that is how the output is going to be looking like. So let's quickly dive in, and then enough of talk. Let's just start writing stuff here, okay? So I'm going to write here, hi, everyone. My name is Shoujo. So let's just write that. And now once you've written something here on the left side, all you need to do is click on this button called Recompile. What that does is it takes into account what you've written and plugs it in. Now, there you go. That is exactly what you've written there. So your source now has been plugged into this output. So that's the first step into writing or into beginning into write in LaTeX, right? Now, so that's how we would do when we would log into MS Word for the first time. We quickly start writing stuff, but that's not it, right? There's more and more to it, right? So let's try and write more stuff here, okay? So I'm not going to write a lot here. Let's just copy and paste blah, 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 right? And that's the second sentence. And that's the third sentence. And let's try and recompile it and see what comes out. See, there's a lot that's coming out here, okay? Blah, 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 blah. And my name's Shoujo. Okay? Perfect. Now, let's say we want to put in a nice heading to our little line here, okay? What we need to do is just figure out what that heading is going to be. And this is, again, how LaTeX works. You create a kind of a section, right? Now, so we're going to click. If you see, as I'm going to type, Overleaf is going to suggest something. As soon as I type slash, see, it gave me a lot of suggestions here. And all I'm going to do is pick section. So see, you don't even have to finish it off. It does finish it off for you. So that's a section. We're going to write this is a section and click on recompile again. What you'll see now pop on your right side is a proper heading, that this is a section, right? And then you have your text underneath that section. So again, to define anything in LaTeX, all you need to do is plug in the code that you have. And these codes are so commonplace. I'm going to leave you today when we finish today's session with some of these source files. So you can quickly, you don't have to worry even about what to write in. You can quickly dive in and work on your document. But if you kind of Google it out, it's super easy to find stuff for LaTeX. There are whole communities that that exchange information on these codes. Okay. Now, let's write something that we've been all talking about, which is a math equation, let's say, which LaTeX does so beautifully and so conveniently when compared to Microsoft Word, where it's kind of more complicated, formatting, cumbersome. MS Word, unless you use scientific Word, which is quite different, it's kind of hard to plug that in, right? So let's create another section here quickly. So this is the math part. And we're going to recompile to see it pop out, right? Okay. So let's write now. I'm going to close this. Yeah, okay. Let's write now. Now we'll write our first math equation. And let's write, and now, so for a math equation, I'm going to show you what I have so far before I type in the equation. So that's where we are at, right? This is the math part. Now we'll write our first math equation. A math equation in LaTeX uses a special environment. And what does that sounds fancy, right? What it simply means is that you need to plug in two dollar values. See, on the left-hand side of the code here, I have the $2 signs, right? That is what you need to plug in when you type a mathematical equation. So we'll write f of x is equals x to the power 2, right? That's as simple as we're going to get at the moment, right? Nothing complicated than that, right? Now, let's see how that comes out as in terms of the output here. Oh, excuse me. So we recompile, and there you go. fx is equals x squared. As simple as that.
Oh,
All right.
so we have a query. Can you just zoom the coding part again?
Absolutely, for sure. So when we the distinction between writing string and writing numeric or anything to do with numbers is basically you have to define it with a dollar. So when you're writing an equation or a number, you write it with a dollar sign to open, so that's the first one, and then to close, which is the second one. Right? But to write text, you don't need that. Okay? So fx is equals x squared. It's as you would write it, in terms of a simple English, right? And to the power 2. If you want to write x subscript, you just plug in that subscript 2, right? And let's zoom back in and recompile. Let's see what we get. There you go. fx is x subscript 2 now. Okay? So that's how you kind of write your math equation. Now, is that the only way to write it? No. Let's write it in a more cleaner way again. So let's create another section. This is the math part 2. All right. Now we'll write our second math equation. Now this time we're going to make it look, a different. We're going to give it a different look. Now this environment, and I'm going to zoom in on the code here one more time. Instead of using dollar sign, we can use something like this. Slash third bracket. That's the opening. Slash third bracket. That's the closing. Okay. We're going to write the same equation. Why not? So we're going to copy that and paste it. So there's no dollar here, but instead of the opening and closing dollar here, we're going to put in the slash third bracket. Okay. And now let's click on recompile. See, that comes out quite different. It comes out as center, indented, and it's complete. It's not on the same line, and it's a little bit different from the first one. Neither one is, you can use any one that suits however you want to write what you're writing. Okay? And that's as simple as you can get, right? Okay. Now, let's try and write something more complicated, okay? Let's say we're going to write, again, there are so many math tricks that you can use. So I'm going to label this section called math tricks. And we're going to look at some equations here, okay? The first one is to write a fraction. So it's a very simple code here. So all you need to do is type frac and see it does give you, Overleaf gives you the code automatically. So it's slash frac, second bracket open, second, I'm going to zoom in for this. So it's slash frac, second bracket open, close, open, close. That is the numerator. So I'm going to type in, let's say, x squared minus 3x plus 5. And the denominator, let's say, 4x cubed minus 3x squared minus 19. Okay. So again, just to repeat that, so it's just slash frac. But if you click on frac, see, Overleaf automatically gives you the code. So all you need to do is plug in your numbers. Okay. Now let's go back and see how it looks like. Quick press of the recompile button, and there is your equation. Right. So minimal effort, maximal output, kind of like that. However, if you want to plug that same equation in terms of how you wrote this line, it's quite possible to do that too. So this is how we write a fraction. That's what I'm going to write. But make sure you put in the dollar signs. Okay. So there you go. I'm going to zoom in once again so that everyone can have a closer look. This is how we write a fraction. And then the opening dollar sign, which is kind of here, and the closing dollar sign kind of here. Okay. And let's click on recompile. And there it is. This is how we write a fraction. So that's there's plenty of stuff you can do, but we're going to go and jump into all that when I show you our next document. But before that, let's try and look at how we write more of the textual part. Because we know we can write some of the math part, but we didn't write a lot of text here at the moment. So let's create another section here. So we'll write textual tricks. Because sometimes we write documents that are pretty long. It not just has a heading, it has multiple subheadings. So can we do that? The answer is yes. It's pretty simple to do that. So I'm going to write just simple text here so that it's just easy for us to follow. So there's a blah, 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 a lot of text in here. And then let's say we got to create a subheading. Again, the code is pretty simple. So if you can see the left-hand side, I'm going to zoom in. Don't worry about it. So that's what we wrote here, /section, textual tricks. Right? Now, we write subsection. See, it automatically gives you what to do. So you just click on that and write, this is a subsection. Right? And then you can type in blah, 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 period. Right? Let's try and see how that works out. A quick recompile. And there you go. See, you don't have to label your subsections. LaTeX automatically, or Overleaf, however you call it, it automatically does that for you. So all throughout, if we've noticed, so section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we got 5.1, right? Let's say you want another one. You want another subsection to your text. And so I just copy pasted the same code, and that's subsection 5.2. Right? Now, let's say we got to write something more on the subsection itself. Let's say we need paragraphs and stuff now, because so far we've been writing sentences, and obviously writing textual stuff is also as important as knowing how to write the math part, right? So let's try and write a second sentence, but on a different paragraph in this subsection. What we're going to do is we're going to write this. We're going to break the line, right? We're going to write a new paragraph. There's two ways with which we can do that. The first is a simple code 4 slashes. 2 slashes will break the line for you. So let me illustrate both of these. So we're just going to copy paste the same text, and then 4 slashes. We're going to write the same code. Okay. So I'm just going to keep this screen on for a couple seconds so you see what we can do. Here, with the 2 slashes, we just break the paragraph, right? Here, with the 4 slashes, we're going to create a new one. So let's see how this looks like. So this is going to come into section 5.2. So if you keep your eyes there, see, it's gone to the next page automatically. You don't have to do that for it. It'll do it for you. So see here, this code here is the 2 slash on line 38. So see, this is why the line number is important on the left-hand side, because the line is where your code is, right? That's 2 slashes. And you see, this is completely separate from the previous 2. That's the 4 slashes on line 40, where I've highlighted. So that's how you can get into writing more and more on LaTeX. How about boldface? How about italics? Can you do that? The answer is yes. It's quite simple. So that's boldface. So if you're on your MacBook, you should type in Command B. If you're on your Windows, just select the text you want bold. Let's say I want to select the last one. It's Control B, right? Just like you do for Word, and do that. I'll show you the code. So it is /textbf. So /text boldface, and bracket open, bracket close. So defining how much text you want to be boldface. And let's click on recompile. We should see the last one here go bold. There you go. Right? What about bold and italics? Can we do that? Yes. So let's look at the text again. So italics is text it. So see, it automatically shows you. So inside text it, now take your bold and paste it there. So it's a double bracket. Right? I'm going to keep this on for a couple seconds so you can see what we're doing here. That's text it. That's saying that it's going to be italics, but it's bold and italics. So we paste the bold one inside the italics, right? And then let's click on recompile. Now see, it's bold and italics here. Right? So there's a lot you can do with playing with the text and with stuff, right? But is that all to Overleaf? No, in no way it is all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to a more richer file that I have for you. So just bear with me. I'm going to take you to a different file and show you. I think this is an example homework that I created for one of my students here. So you should probably be seeing a question paper. And we're going to talk about some fine tunes of the components here. So yeah, this is a math question paper that I had. So yeah. Now remember, I told you that LaTeX is able to incorporate your pictures and whatever else that you want to throw at it. Here is an example of exactly that. So this is where we'll quickly see how you can insert your favorite image onto LaTeX, right? Like I've done here. And also if you want to write or insert a table, everything is possible. Don't worry, I'm going to give you all the codes here once again, and I'm going to give you the resources to understanding where you can write more tables, and you can customize them. You can make it your own. Okay. Now, one thing it's pretty common with LaTeX is that if you have made a mistake in your code, your output is going to be messed up a little bit. So let's take an example here. Let's take, or let's say, if you look at the left side of the screen, it's pretty big here. So we have more than 143 lines. Figuring out which line goes with which line on the right-hand side can be quite convoluted. Like I want to know, where does this line 137 refer to in the output? I have no idea, right? And especially if you're doing long documents, a 100-page document, it's extremely tedious to do that, right? But LaTeX has got you covered. So what you do is, or the other way around, right? So you want to see which, let's say, I want to see what is line 43 in terms of how it looks like. I want to see how it looks like. Can I do that? Yes, you can. So I'm going to create, for example, I'm going to show you this. Once you select the text that you want to see where it goes to, click on this button here. See, it shows you go to code location in PDF. If you click on that, it'll highlight it for you. You saw that yellow highlight that just came in. So that is question number 2. That is the code for that. Likewise, it's the other way around. So just select this one, for example. I want to see the code. Just go for the bottom arrow. Go to PDF location in code. See, it just puts my cursor straight away in question number 2. So that way you can go back and forth and edit your text as you write your way through a long document. Okay. So so basically that's the way to debug. And as we were talking about debugging, sometimes we make mistakes as human beings, and we sometimes forget to write stuff, especially with the $sign. That's a very common mistake. And you see here, we'll try with question number 2. That's the code for that. This question, you see, partially on the screen. If you see here, we have the $signs. They're perfectly done. So that's the 5th, 8th, and 11th terms of a GP, right? Are P, Q, and S, respectively, blah, blah, blah. So see, that's how we've written that. Show that Q squared is PS. Okay? It's a very simple code, right? But suppose we forgot this last $sign. What will happen now? What is going to, or let's say we forgot this altogether. See, there's an automatic cross sign. There's an automatically error sign here. See, this should be inside math mode, and that math mode is your very $sign here. Excuse me. Yeah, there you go. So if you forget how to write that, see, it again gives you that. So what do we get? If we try and recompile it forcibly, LaTeX is going to give you something, but it's going to give you something probably, yeah, see, everything else is now messed up here. Every one of these is messed up. Your code might be right. You might still get what you're trying to get, but once you write more and more stuff, it's going to be messed up. However, LaTeX, or rather Overleaf, shows you where your mistake is as well. Like, let's say you have 137 lines of code, which is fine. What if you have 1,000 lines of code? you can't go through all the lines, right? Not only does this show you that there's a missing dollar inserted, right? And if I do that, it rectifies itself. But just to figure out where it went wrong, this is where you click. So see, missing dollar inserted, and we rectified that. So it is just next to the recompile button. And if you click on that, it automatically shows you where you made a mistake.
So we have a question here. We
Yes,
have
please.
like the question is asked by Poppy Mala. So she's
Mhm.
asking that if we put $P and $Q and $S, which order are we supposed to follow?
$P and $Q. So just to confirm that question, is that what you want to kind of, um, is that what,
She wants, she wants to understand the order in which we are going to follow this.
okay,
Like, is it
okay.
going to
So,
be P or is it going to be $Q? The
oh,
dollar
okay,
should
okay,
be
okay.
in the beginning.
Sure, sure, sure. So let's rewrite this. Okay, okay. So the fifth, eighth, and 11th terms of a GP are P, Q, and S respectively. So that's what we're going to write, okay? Now, the way you can write it is, to remember, only the math stuff has to be, again, by the way, see now the entire text changes into red. So you cannot leave dollar signs blank. See, I've written them blank at the moment. Okay, so that's the other thing. Okay, make sure they're not blank. Okay, now they are P, Q, and S. So P, so see, as soon as I write that, the red sign goes away. This sign goes away, this red color. So P, Q, and S. P, Q, and S. Now that's one way you can write it. This and cannot be inside a dollar because it's not a math component, right? Or you can do is, you can do P comma Q dollar and S dollar. Just because we have this and, we need to have a separate dollar for S completely on its own. And P and Q can have either their own dollar signs or a collective dollar sign, as we have showed in this case. But the outcome will be the same. You won't have a problem because comma is a completely okay term to use. So you see, it's P, Q, and S respectively, right? If I change this, let's go to the code here for a quick second. So I'm going to give them each of their own dollar. See, again, $1 missing, and you get an incorrect sign. It must be inside the math mode. Okay, so we shouldn't be seeing any changes here. So keep your eye on the output here. It's P, Q, and S respectively. There you go. Nothing changed. So nothing should change in terms of how it looks like. Okay. So there's, again, now you probably figured out that there's many ways you can write a specific code. Okay. What I am going to do is I am going to quickly capture your attention. If you have eyes on my screen, guys, and I'm going to illustrate a few things here. I'm going to give you this resource as well. So this file here that I'm going to open up, if you can see, LaTeX mathematical symbols, is you can plug in everything here into Overleaf or LaTeX as we saw. Like everything here can be plugged in. So there's a lot that you can do, not just with text. So this is so far mathy stuff, but also with text, right? So you can plug in special text like we have done it here, right? Calligraphic, signs, symbols, right? All of this can be literally used in LaTeX. Okay? Now, let's quickly jump back to something that we were talking about earlier, which is plugging in images, right? Now, let's see how we do that. Again, this has a code on its own. And don't worry, I'm going to give you this file that we're working on right now, so you can have a quick, you can jump quickly onto it. So how do we find out the code for this? We just click on this and go to this arrow. So that's going to take us, see, it took us exactly where it is. We didn't have to worry, like, where is this code? How do we get it? How do we, you don't have to worry about that. Okay? Now see here, again, so there's a lot going on here. Now, we don't have to worry about all this junk here. I'm going to give you the code again. But all we need to do is make sure that we have this image. So what I'm going to do is I am going to insert another image just to show you how it works. So we're going to copy paste the code, but we need the picture, right? So this is the only important. I'm going to focus on the code for a quick second. This is an important part of the code because that's the file that we are going to use. So that is the actual picture file. Okay. This is the caption. So some pretty flowers. So let's see if we have that here. Yeah, there you go. Some pretty flowers. That's also important because, so this is our file. So we'll call it some more pretty flowers. And this is the width. How big you want your image to be. In Word, we sometimes drag it and then, we do a lot of things with it. Here, you just specify it, how wide you want it to be. Okay. So how do we plug in images? This is where this part, if you have a look at my screen, this part of Overleaf comes in. So it says, click to show the file tree. I'm going to click on it and see. It gives you the base image for flowers, which I have already loaded. See, this is the exact image that you saw here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to load one more image to illustrate. Okay. So if you follow my steps, so see, this button here is called upload. I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit. Here, upload. And we're going to upload a file here. So let me quickly upload one for you. Okay, so flower 2. So this file is called flower 2. It's important that you name the flower, name the file the exact same way. So once we've done that, see, it's now here. Now we can work. We can close this and work on our code. So make sure it is named exactly the same. See, LaTeX or Overleaf is going to suggest it for you so that it makes sure that you're writing it correct. We just select that. Okay, and we got the label caption as well, right? See, some more pretty flowers. Let's recompile and see what we get. There you go. Some more pretty flowers. And that's the exact image that we were trying to have. Right? We have this image as well here, and this one too. Okay? So that's how you plug in your images here, right? A couple quick final things before we kind of and by this time I think you know that we can sit here literally for hours and hours, and I can take you through so many little nooks and crannies here of Overleaf. But sadly, because of time, we're going to look at two more aspects here before we open the floor up for some clarifying questions and comments here. Okay. So what we're going to quickly do is have a quick look at tables first. Okay. Now, again, where do we find this code? It's somewhere here. Again, click on it, left button, it gives you. So see, there's a lot going on here. And frankly speaking, I would say don't be worried. I'm going to give you the resource to a website, if you have a look at my screen, that gives you how to generate your tables on LaTeX. So this is the website, tablesgenerator.com. Don't worry, you'll have it. All you need to do is type up your text, right? And click on generate. It will give you the code, which you copy paste and you get your table.
So can you quickly show how to add an image?
Yes, please. Yeah, absolutely. So when adding an image, there are two things you must keep in mind. So follow the steps. So the first step is click on this button here that says click to show the tree file, the file tree, excuse me. So what that does is that opens up this side that is otherwise hidden, right? We hid it when we started using this. Okay. The next thing is you need to upload your file here, because once you have a file downloaded from the internet that you want to be pasted on LaTeX, right? You must make sure it's in the same this file tree as your file. So again, if you click on upload, it'll let you choose from your computer, right? And I have this image, flower 2. Let's say I'm going to open it up again. It's going to ask me to overwrite. Let's say I just click on it, yes, and it comes in. So that's the first step. The second step is to make sure, then we can close this off. Okay. The second step is the code. So the code for this should include the name of your file correctly. So see, this is the, I'm going to give you the code, so don't worry about the code. Just make sure that this is correct. So see, flower2.jpg. If this is a PNG file, change this to PNG. But see, when you write this flower2, LaTeX automatically gives you the name of the file that you have. And you just click on it. And you can change your caption. So some more pretty flowers for you, let's say. And then you click on recompile. So this should change. See, we just change the caption because the image is the same. See, some more pretty flowers for you. Awesome. All right. Now, there's one more further trick that I want to show you. Well, 1.5 more, let's say. It's going to give you a bonus half. If you guys follow my screen here, I'm going to also give you another tidbit here on how. So far, we've been writing articles and pages and documents, right? What about presentations? So go back to your Overleaf homepage, and you can see a new project. We did blank project, so that's what we did, right? Now we're going to click on presentation, and there's so many templates here that you can play around with. It's just crazy, and they're adding more and more stuff. You can build your resume. It's everything is all set for you to just plug in your stuff. So I'm going to show you presentation and let you figure out the rest yourself. There's a lot to explore, trust me. So when I click on presentation, see, it gives me a bunch of templates. Like, it's crazy the amount that you got. It goes on. It goes on, trust me. But let's say I like this one. Yeah. You just click on it, and it'll ask you to open as a template. And you just click on that. And it will take you exactly into a platform or an out. See, just like before, it gives you the visual representation, or the interface is exactly the same as before. We're going to close this off right now. Okay. See, this is how this looks like. This is the PDF copy. Okay. Now, you can change your title. So just click on title. It'll show you where to change, right? So if I have title here and I click here, yeah, it brings me here. So see, introduction. See, there's an introduction here, right? And if we go on top here again, see, that's the author. See, that's this author. So I'm going to change it to my, oh, excuse me. I'm going to change it to my name. So Shoujo, and I'm going to press on recompile, right? Whoops. Hang on. Oh, okay. So that changes this side. So see, you can have that on the bottom here as well, and this author here. So just play around with this a little bit, and you can figure out which component you need to change. So see, now this will change. There we go. So just play around with it a little bit, and you can figure out which component you can do. Okay. Now, the final 2 comments that I'm going to leave you here with is that now that you've created your beautiful presentation or your beautiful document, how do you use it? You see this button here that says download PDF. A LaTeX automatically, or Overleaf automatically allows you to download it as PDF. So if you click on that, it's gonna download it for you automatically. And let's see how it looks like, just so that we can very quickly here. So that's the file, and it should give us. Well, give me a sec. Yeah, there you go. It's out now. See, that is what we saw as the file. Okay. Now, the final thing that I want to talk about is, and I'm going to take a little bit of help from Ritika ma'am here, who is with us, is that you can do work on your own with LaTeX, but there is something that you can do that allows you to collaborate as well. Okay. Now, see, I created this file called example collaboration with Ritika ma'am here. And if I ask her to click on that, and she has the file here, she's added to the file. You'll be able to see again. Yeah. You'll be able to see the similar interface again. So we'll close this off. And now this is where we have Ritika ma'am. See, not only can you see her on this side of the screen here that shows R for her name, And see, she's typing. It's just like your Word Online that we use for Google Documents, right? You can see her typing. And you and your co-author can work on projects simultaneously live. Now, let's say she's typed up that stuff. Now, why don't you click on Recompile, and you'll be able to see all her text come up here. See, there you go. Everything. Now, see, now she can see me type up. So I'm going to do, thank you, everyone, for coming today. And we're going to recompile. If she recompiles, she should also be able to see my new sentence.
Yes, I can see that.
There you go. So LaTeX or Overleaf also allows you to collaborate with more than one person. Now, it's free up to 2 people. For more than 2 people, you can use a paid version of Overleaf. But so far, what we've been doing or seeing today is completely free. So there is no charge for Overleaf. And yeah, you can go crazy with it, basically. You can go do a million things with LaTeX. So I'm going to stop going crazy again here and take up any questions or comments that you might have. Thank you for, again, coming in today and for joining us here. And we look forward to your comments here.
Okay, so the first question that we have received is that how to use LaTeX in Google Forms to write math. Is that possible?
Forms, Google Forms. So if I understand this right, Forms, there's an integration of a typesetting. You would probably might not be able to use directly LaTeX, but as per my knowledge, you can actually use it. You can use it. So Google Forms, if I'm not wrong, I used it once before. It allows you to incorporate math signs, and the coding should be identical. So you won't be able to see all this LaTeX fancy stuff that you see here, but the coding. So for example, the $sign, the writing the second bracket open close, those should be identical to the codes that you saw here on LaTeX. And yes, you should be able to. They do have an option of plugging in math equations. It's pretty simple, I think, based on my information.
Okay, the another question that we have is it only for math or math teachers?
The answer is no, strictly no, because I myself am a researcher of economics, and there are so many times that we have written pages after pages of Overleaf for English stuff. So it's basically for typesetting. And again, go back to understanding what typesetting is. It's basically how you bring everything together, not just your math bit, your English bit, your graphical bit, and put it out together for a visual representation. So yes, it is useful for math, but is it limited to math? No. The answer is no.
Okay, so we have an interesting question here. When we have GUI based applications, then why do we need to work on coding? So please clarify that.
Oh, sure. And there are, again, several ways that which you can incorporate it. One of the advantages of LaTeX is that it's so widely used, not just for academic reasons, because there you will find lots of journals that they will ask straight away for your LaTeX code. And it's so easy to incorporate it in terms of a visual representation. It's just easy to work with. And it's not exactly coding, I would say. It's more you're writing logic rather than you're writing coding, because and again, you don't have to learn any of this coding because Overleaf gives it to you directly. You just need to know what you have, and everything is out there in terms of what do I need to do, what do I need to write when I need to write a fraction, when I need to write an integral sign, or when I need to change my paragraph, or when I need to insert a special character in my English text. So it's just, it's just super convenient to do that, I would say.
Okay, so there's another question that from where do we get the coding part? As one of our
Yeah.
teachers, she has uploaded the picture, but she's not able to insert it into the document.
Okay. So where you get it is basically, if I can, well, I'm going to quickly share my screen, and then maybe that's the best way of representing this. So bear with me for a second. So here we go. Let me go back to my file where I had my image here. So when you open your LaTeX project for the first time here on Overleaf, you would see this interface pop out, right? So this left-hand side is where you need to do it. What you can do is when you type in, because see, you don't have the space to type in your code at the moment, that is exactly where you click on this button. Click to hide the file tree. Once you do that, this side pops up where you can type in your text or your code. To get back to the previous file tree, here, this button is click to show the file tree. And this is where you plug in your image. That's where I have it. We'll close it off. And this is where we have the code for putting in this flower. So that's the two steps that you can follow to get this out.
Okay, so I don't think we have any more questions. And it was an interesting session. I was totally hooked onto it. I was learning each and every part, and it was easy. It was just not coding. So it was, yes, you said it right, that it was just following the logic and inserting an image. And I can imagine, like, I love the question paper that you had shown. It was so easy to prepare a question paper and using math equation, because we teachers, we face, and I'm also math teacher, so I know how difficult it is to just use those ink pads and to write the equation and then make a question paper.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the good things about LaTeX is even if you don't have to create your files from scratch every time. You can create basically your own template on LaTeX. So on Overleaf, excuse me. And by the way, for anyone who has a question on, is this only on Overleaf? Do we need an internet connection to work? The answer is no, because LaTeX. So if you just Google in LaTeX, you should be able to see the original website for them. They have their own softwares for both Mac and Windows platform. So, and again, they're completely free, and they work in the exact same way, almost, I want to say 99% the same way as Overleaf does. So you're not missing out if you don't have those, or if you just have Overleaf, it's not going to be an issue. So it's cross platform. You can take your code from Overleaf, plug it into that, use it. Other way around, use it. So it's just convenient.
Okay, so that was a lovely session. We are receiving a good feedback. The educators, they have loved it. And thank you so much, Shojo sir. I
Thank you.
would just request our audience to fill the feedback form. I have already given the link in the chat box. So please fill the form. And apart from that, we'll be sharing the the handouts, right? So on
Yes.
mail.
I would give everyone 3 handouts. One, the introduction, the blank template on where you can start out with. So, and again, you can get it on Overleaf. You can just create a blank project. It gives you what you need to do. Okay. I'll also share the part where I plug in the pictures and the table and the websites for how to create your online tables and everything. You're gonna get everything, and that document where you have a bunch of symbol codes and stuff. So yeah,
Okay, so thank
thank
you,
you,
Shruti,
everyone.
sir, again. And thank you, everyone, for
Thank you.
joining in. You can just follow
Definitely.
us, like our channel, and keep on joining us for more interesting sessions. So, bye bye, everyone.
Take care, everyone. Thank you for coming. Bye.
Bye.